Okay. Forgot who little brother was?
No.
All right.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you, man.
Okay.
Why are you touching my arm, bro? Let go.
Why are you acting like this?
I'm a little nervous because I don't like cops.
Why?
I have anxiety. They've done things to me.
What have they done to you?
I mean, stop resisting when you're not resisting.
Do you have any weapons? Do you have any weapons?
I don't think so. I had a pocket.
You don't think so? Don't pull them out. What'd you just stick in your mouth? What'd you just stick in your mouth?
Dude, a fucking pill. There's a pill. Let me go. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back, bro. Stop. 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 Stop resisting, bro. Stop. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired.
That 32-year-old man's name was Richard Ward. He was shot by police, as you saw there, after they snatched him out of the backseat of his mother's SUV as he was waiting there, I believe, also with her boyfriend, for his little brother to come out of their middle school at pickup. So there's children around, there's other parents and families around, a broad daylight where they've suspected this guy of some wrongdoing. I'm gonna tell you the wrongdoing that they suspected. Apparently, Richard had gotten out of the car to get some air, walked around a bit, and mistook another white SUV. This is the story from the lawsuit that of course, the family's filing after they murdered him, by the way. That's what, in case you guys didn't know, that ended up happening. He shot him at point blank range as he struggled with him on the ground. And he accidentally grabbed another car door that he thought was his mother's white SUV. The person was startled, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was a different car." Closed the door and continued on to his actual car. Then the police were called. Maybe that's something that could happen. I could even understand that. Maybe they weren't sure. He was acting a little erratic. Maybe he's drunk. Maybe he's high. All these things, of course, are asked. So once he then got to the car, that's when the police showed up, and that was the interaction. Couldn't have taken longer than a minute for them to get to that point. And there was that pill that he put in his mouth, which must have been an act of aggression, because that's what they said it was. That is until the body cam footage came out a year later, as of this month. This happened in February of 2022. So let's go down to graphic 3, because this is what their explanation was as to why all of that went down. The deputies confronted Ward, who began fighting with them and attempted to grab off his weapon. That's what Gail Perez, a spokeswoman for the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office, told this publication. I'm gonna say it again. He said he attempted to grab the officer's weapon. You guys just watched the video that was not being released very quickly. So of course, you see that he didn't reach for any weapon. In fact, he was snatched out of the car for putting a pill in his mouth. David Lucero, who was the chief deputy at the time and is now the Pueblo County Sheriff, briefed reporters out at the scene that same day. Lucero told reporters that day that Ward jumped out of the vehicle. The video, of course, shows Ward being pulled out of the vehicle. And after the shooting, this is what the police did. Rather than providing emergency medical care to Richard, such as applying pressure to the wound area or other potentially life-saving measures, both McWhorter and Gonzalez, the two officers there, did absolutely nothing. That's what the attorney said that's representing this family. Rather, they satisfied themselves to wait until an ambulance later arrived, by which time Richard had died. I read some further details from this story, at least from what the officers were saying, Mondale. And they said the reason they didn't help out the guy they just shot a couple times at point blank range in the chest or the torso area is because they were concerned that his mother and I guess the boyfriend in the front seat were also a threat. So they stood there because, you know, when someone else is a threat, you stand there and don't try to neutralize that threat. So many lies were flying around from the fact they said he jumped out, reached for the weapon as you're on the ground. And let's not forget the very sad prediction that he said, you know, I've had run-ins with the cops when they've said stop resisting, and I'm not resisting.
It is absolutely unbelievable that this man literally said what cops do, why he feared cops, and died by that. Literally, the cops had already had their hands on him. You heard him say, why you twisted my arm like that? Why you twisting my arms like that? The report that they gave, the initial report that these officers gave to their superior officers, and then was spread throughout the community, throughout the world as fact to news exports was absolutely disgusting. And they said this man was already out of the car, aggressive when he wasn't. He said he was nervous because of cops. It was not a threat. He said he might have had a pocket knife. That didn't stop the officer. It wasn't until you put the pill in his mouth, at which you grabbed him by his neck. First of all, this man told you he had anxiety problems. Mm-hmm. He's taking a pill, which he was prescribed, and you respond in a way that's extremely aggressive. All you're doing is heighten his anxieties. People with anxiety problems know that when you're having an attack, it almost feels like you're dying. And for this officer to grab him by the neck and force his neck toward the ground, it's natural to push back up with the neck. This idea officers have this carte blanche ability to manhandle humans in this manner is going to lead to the death of humans. We cannot pretend that something is not wrong with police in America when officers can show up at a school where little kids are. And you, first of all, didn't even try to isolate the situation. You escalated it right there where other cars were in line to pick up kids. You don't know if kids were walking out of that school at all, and they didn't shoot them once. They shot them 3 times. 3 times, and stood there, put on their arms, and moved as slow as possible, and watched this man take his last breath. There was no fear of his mother, because when she said, "Did you shoot my son?" and tried to open the door, her husband said, "Close the door." She closed it immediately, and then said, "I'm calling the police. Give me your name." The threat
no basis for the things they're talking about.
That way.